To a corn.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
With the 32nd pick in the 2014 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select K.J. McDaniels from Clemson University.
You know, all KJ had to do from the time he was a freshman at Clemson was look down at his jersey number, and he would have known 3 years later where he would be picked in the NBA draft. I wonder how many times has that happened in the history of the NBA draft, that the number you wore in your college career was where you were picked, numbers-wise, in the draft. You ever thought about that, Pro?
No.
That's something I was thinking about last night.
The only number I think about is how many running backs after Jim Brown wore 32.
A bunch. O.J. Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a very popular number. 32. 32 at Clemson, 32 in the NBA draft. What do you think? Obviously, it has to be a disappointment. When you drop out of the first round in the NBA, you don't get the guaranteed contract. You're not going to get the big signing money, that sort of stuff. So did he make a mistake?
I don't think he made a mistake. I don't. The thing is, he's going to be a work in progress anyway, because the college game, let's face it, Phil, most college players play a position that's going to be, they're going to drop lower. The two guard in college, most of the times, if they're good enough, they're probably small and they'll end up playing point guard. Power forward probably end up, if he's quick enough to play defensively, will be a small forward. KJ really, in people's minds, don't have a position yet, because he's played a power forward's game in somewhat what would be an NBA small forward's body. So, he has to get with an organization that's going to work with him and see where he best fits, because I think an organization like San Antonio has given a lot of players hope when you see teams utilize their entire roster rather than have 3 or 4 guys just sitting on the end of the bench. And I think probably he will find his niche as he puts on a little bit more weight and strength at the NBA level.
Thing about the Sixers, man, they had so many draft picks last night. I think they had 5 picks in the second round. And you wonder if he could get lost in the shuffle there. We shall see. Nothing is ever for certain in the NBA, but it is funny to watch the latter portions of the NBA draft when they start selecting players from overseas, guys you've never heard of unless you're just an outright international basketball fool and you know something about him. How about the big kid that was drafted late? He's about 7'3", 7'4". He is from overseas. You know what I'm talking about? I think he's from Brazil. Yeah, he's a big kid from Brazil. He's about 7'3", 7'4". And he was there. He was in New York. They brought him up on stage, and he looked humongous. But also a very nice touch by the NBA as a league drafting the young man from Baylor who had to retire from basketball for health reasons. That was a very nice touch by the league. We will hit a break and fill you in on what's coming up here on Sports Talk.
All right, stand by.
Good to have you with us here on Sports Talk. And our phone number tonight's 800-956-7266. 800-956-7266 is how you can reach us. Our email, talkback@sportstalksc.com. Talkback@sportstalksc.com. Website is sportstalksc.com. Make sure you visit there frequently for our news information, recruiting information. You can hear the program streaming live there very easily to hear us if you lose us over the airwaves. And set it in your phone, set it in your laptop, and set it in your notepad, whatever you have, your notebook, however you technically receive audio or video. You can also watch us on our website, sportstalksc.com. Our webcam brought to you by Palmetto Pride, and that's at the bottom of the page. So check that out. On Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network, and on Twitter. We hope you are signed up to follow us on Twitter at Sports Talk SC. Phil Kornblut, the professor, Tom Hayes is over there. The empty chair, Kevin McCrary. How does he get so many nights off? When is the last time we had a night off, bro?
I don't know.
State man, when's the last time you had a night off?
When I was in the hospital a couple months ago.
Yeah. And even then we tried to get you into the office, you know. However, I will be gone for 2 weeks. So see you later. Wouldn't want to be you. Something like that. And then I come back and go to SEC Media Day. So I'm actually going to be gone from here for 18 days from our beautiful
studios. You come back and then stick your key in the door and it doesn't work.
Believe me, that's happened before. Wouldn't be the first time. Coming up tonight on our program, we've got some commentary from a couple of Gamecock basketball players. Not really commentary, comments from a couple of Gamecock basketball players we talked to yesterday, Ty Johnson and Sindarius Thornwell. We heard from Frank Martin last night. We'll let you hear from the players tonight as they talk about the summer and getting ready for the upcoming season, their excitement about next season at South Carolina. We've got that for you. Plenty of recruiting for you as well. Michael Lance Davis, running back out of Georgia, did commit to Georgia Tech today. Clemson was, at one time, Clemson was his public front runner. But it appears to me that over time, the interest there kind of waned one way or the other. He ends up committing to Georgia Tech, which if you're a running back, I mean, that's a good place to go. You're going to get a chance to carry the football if you're good. And we'll give you a complete recruiting rundown coming up a little bit later on. And before I get to a few news notes here, Pro, as far as the draft is concerned last night, I know you are a draft watcher, not a draft dodger. Though you might have been a draft dodger back in the day.
No, I did like anybody else. I had to register, but I was born at a good time where I tiptoed across the edge of Vietnam.
You said you tiptoed across the border to Canada?
No, the edge of Vietnam. I'm talking about the timeline.
Yeah, me too. I have a draft card. I registered for the draft. In fact, when I was a junior in college, was it junior? No, not junior in college. Junior in high school, I think it was. My draft number came up at like number 3. So had I been of age, I would have definitely been shipped over there. But I wasn't of age. That was a. Can you imagine being eligible for the draft at that time? And how often did the draft number was announced? About every 6 months or so, they were pulling a draft number. Sitting by the radio or the television, waiting to see what came up. Had to be some scary times for families. But anyway, the draft last night, what's your take on who did well, who flamed out, who really improved themselves last night, you think?
It's just too early to tell. I did like Milwaukee taking Jabari Parker. I thought it was a perfect pick for him because he's a Chicago guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's from the Midwest, so he gets to go back to the Midwest. Not many people want to go to Milwaukee anyway, but he goes back near home. I thought the Lakers got a good pick in Julius Randle. you know, a lot of times people say, well, he's undersized. No, if a guy can play a position, he can play a position. I mean, I've seen guys. I mean, Charles Barkley shouldn't have been a power forward, but because he was 6'2 and a half, 6'3". But there, if he wasn't one of the best rebounders, just play the guy where he's comfortable. And I thought they had a good pick. The Lakers did. These others.
How about my Celtics?
Well, you went with Marcus Smart.
Well, we got a new backcourt, but I read a comment from one of the Celtics owners last night who said Rondo's not being traded.
No,
he had no intention of trading Rondo, he said. But Rondo only has 2 more years left on his contract this coming season, and then he'll have an expiring contract. And they've got to make a decision about him. Is he going to be a career Celtic, and are they going to try and tie him down for the long term moving forward, or do they ship him out somewhere else and, you know, totally start completely over with he's the last link to the championship team?
I think you hold on to him. He's still pretty young, and you get a guy like Marcus Smart to put with him to take some of the ball handling responsibilities away from him, so he can concentrate on defense. You know, for several minutes during a stretch when both are in the ball game, and I think you elongate his career.
I think Marcus Smart's a very good pickup for the Celtics in that he's a big guard, he's a physical guard, he can defend, and he's already got an NBA-type body on him. And then the young kid they took from Kentucky, excellent outside shooter, something that the Celtics, you know, their outside shooting, if you follow them, has been sporadic. Jeff Green's hot and cold. Avery Bradley's been hurt a great deal. They don't really scare you with their outside shooting. So maybe James Young's going to be that guy to put a little bit of fear into opponents' defense when it comes to the C's.
Not many people built like Marcus Smart playing the point guard position. He's built like a linebacker, quite frankly. I kind of like what my Hawks did. I know what they're trying to do. They just spread the court on you and fire threes and leave pass open for guys to drive to the basket like Jeff Teague, and they're going to continue that. Adrian Payne, I think, was very undervalued. You know, if you're a senior and you go in the NBA draft, everybody think you're dead wood. Why did he stay in school for 4 years? 23 years old, can shoot the three, very athletic, block shots. You could tell where they're going. They're going with stretch threes. They're going to stretch the floor like they did last year, and that's the way they play. They're going to play that San Antonio ball, and, of course, draft the obligatory 7-foot center that you're going to stash overseas for 2 years.
Okay, let's hit the phones here. We'll update some news notes, some Jadeveon Clowney information, the final Learfield Cup standings out today. We'll tell you how teams from our state finished up. We go to John in Berea, up there near Greenville. Hi, John, and welcome to Sports Talk. How are you?
How y'all doing tonight, Phil?
Man, we're doing great.
I'm just calling. I want to find out. Clemson was in the running for two of the top running backs in Florida. I ain't heard anything about that lately. You know how they stand with them?
Which ones in particular? You talking about Ray McLeod, for example?
They signed one of them's teammates.
Well,
they got a commitment from him.
Well, no, Ray McLeod is not a teammate of Deion Kane. They're just very good friends. They're both from Tampa, but they're not teammates. They're on separate teams. So Ray McLeod would be one that Clemson is looking at as far as running backs go in the 2015 class. You know, their board is getting pretty close to being done because their numbers are getting up there. But they would take Ray McLeod for sure. That's a guy that they really like, and if they could get him, they would certainly take him.
I know this last night I heard on a poll that Clemson's second in recruiting right now in Carolina is about 7th.
Well, it depends on who you want to go by, but yeah, both are doing extremely well. Ray McLeod, I would say, would be Clemson's top target. They're still talking to Nyheim Hines as well. He's a running back, slot receiver type of player out of Garner, North Carolina. So I would say probably right now those two. But remember now, C.J. Fuller and Jalon Oglesby fall back into the 2015 class in terms of when they will report and be ready to play. So that's 2 running backs they have coming in this 2015 class, even though they signed them last year. According to reports, one's going to prep school, one is going to Gray Shirt. So they've got some coming in. We'll hit a break. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk on a Friday night heading into the weekend. Been raining here in Columbia. We need the rain, thank goodness. Major thunderstorm blew through here, and it's still raining. So that's good. Let it rain. Let it cool things off. Hopefully there was no major damage out there. And just be careful as you're motoring around. And we appreciate you listening to us tonight here on Sports Talk, wherever you are dialed in. Don't forget, every night, Sports Talk, your final word on sports in South Carolina. Most informed, most intelligent, most enthusiastic word on sports. 800-956-7266, and a couple of notes for you. Jadeveon Clowney. Did you know this about Jadeveon Clowney? According to Gil Brandt from NFL.com, Clowney told him he played all of last season at South Carolina with a sports hernia injury, the one he just had surgery on. Bus Cook, his agent, told the Houston Chronicle that Clowney believed he was playing with a groin injury, and he almost skipped his pro day. He said he thought about not participating, but went ahead anyway. Of course, you know what he did on his pro day. He blew it up. Clowney went under the knife earlier this month. They expect him back for training camp, and his coach says that was the best thing for him. Initially, Clowney said he didn't suffer the injury before the draft, so the perception of this one moving forward will certainly be interesting, this writer writes. So there you go. So for those of you, ESPN, who thought that Clowney was, as it reads here, lazy, spoiled, didn't care about football, he played the whole year with a sports hernia injury.
As long as
That's got to hurt.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't know he has it. You remember when?
What exactly is? I know what a hernia is. You know, it's a tear down there.
I've already looked it up for you.
Okay, statement. What exactly is a sports hernia? Is that a hernia injury caused by sports?
Yeah.
I mean, is that why it's called a sports?
You're brilliant,
hernia?
Corn. I tell you, I don't even
Thank
know why
you.
I'm here. You should do the whole thing.
Sure.
Syndrome characterized by chronic groin pain, which you like to characterize as the groin for some reason. We still haven't figured that out. But in athletes,
Groin.
yeah, that's
say the word again.
Groin.
Groin.
Yeah,
Groin.
You're getting there. You're getting there slowly but surely.
Groyne. Just
Groin.
look at it. It's spelled
groin.
incorrect.
It's the
Groin.
You're growing.
But
Are you
it's
growing?
Scientifically, it's what called athletic pubalgia, something like that. If I can't really pronounce that, pubalgia, something like that. But it's also the hockey hernia, the hockey groin, Gilmore's groin. It's got a whole bunch of names.
Gilmore's groin.
But it's a medical condition of the pubic joint affecting athletes. I mean, that is the man region, so it's stiff and all the above. Million symptoms I could list here, but
So women can have this injury?
well, I wouldn't think so. No,
Well, I think they can.
I'm not a doctor. I'm giving the Wikipedia.
Well, I mean, women.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
Women in tennis, I know, suffer from pulled groins.
Yeah, women can have sports hernia injury, statement. I'm a little bit surprised that you're so being such a male chauvinist pig. I want to hear from a woman tonight who's had a sports hernia
I remember
injury.
Julio Jones ran a sub 4.40 on a broken foot during the combine.
I say DL's bigger. And he decided to never lose it either. Pain. Oh, Zebo? Yeah, 2 more years of Zebo. You're right. When do you want to run the players' corn? Yeah, Jarnell Stokes. A lot like Zebo. He's undersized, but huge. All right, stand by.
Okay, we welcome you back into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia. Phil Kornblut, the Professor Tom Hayes, and the state man Graham Pope at your service. 800-956-7266 is the phone number if you'd like to join us. Email talkback at sportstalksc.com. And on Twitter, it is at sportstalksc, how you can reach us tonight. Going to catch you up on a number of things going on. A little bit later on, we're going to hear from USC's Ty Johnson. And Ty, of course, preparing to head overseas, along with Sindarius Thornwell and Frank Martin. We heard from Martin last night, and we'll let you hear from the players tonight as they talk about that and also talk about getting ready to play together again. The hope is that Ty Johnson can stay healthy and be that leader of the Gamecock offense at point guard, and he says the foot is 100%. So that is certainly good news for South Carolina as they look ahead to perhaps breaking into the postseason this year in year number 3 under Frank Martin. Now today, the final Division I rankings for Learfield Sports, the Learfield Sports Directors Cup, the final rankings were announced this afternoon. And for the 20th time, Stanford has won the Learfield Sports Directors Cup in Division I. Now, it's not really fair.
They played 200 different sports.
Well, yeah. I mean, here is what Stanford did this year across the board. They finished 9th in baseball. I guess they used the final national rankings. They finished 9th in baseball, 18th in women's golf, 3rd in men's golf, 17 in women's lacrosse. Women's rowing, they finished 4th. Women's tennis, they finished 3rd. Men's tennis, 33rd. Women's track and field, 11th. Men's track and field, 32nd. Men's volleyball, 2nd. Women's water polo, 1st. So their women's sports really helps them to win this thing. So Stanford was first, Florida second, Notre Dame third, Virginia fourth, Penn State fifth. This is the all-sports standings. Sixth, Texas, UCLA seventh, Southern Cal eighth, Duke ninth, and Texas A&M 10th. Now, as far as the in-state schools, South Carolina finished best in state, 35th. The Gamecocks, according to this, 17th in baseball. Let's see, 10th in women's golf, 9th in men's golf, and where else do they qualify? 33rd in softball, 17th in women's tennis and men's tennis. That was it. Those are the sports where the Gamecocks scored points. Clemson finished 60th. Tigers were 49th in baseball, 37th in women's golf, men's golf 31st, and women's tennis 9th. Those are the only ones that they recorded points in. So, why is okay? So these are for the spring sports. The fall sports
don't count.
No, the fall sports do count, but this is just a breakdown of the spring sports, I guess. That's why I paused here. I was looking for the football and the fall sports. So these are just for spring sports. So Clemson finishes 60th. So in the fall, Clemson had 97 points. In the winter, they had 43 points. And their total, with their spring points, their total was like, what is that, 215 or so? South Carolina had, let me see if I can blow this up so I can read this a little bit better. Let's see, where'd South Carolina go? There she is. South Carolina had 130 points in the fall, 154 points in the winter, 307 points total. So the rest around the state, South Carolina 35, Clemson 60, Coastal Carolina 108, and Furman 183, South Carolina State 189, Charleston Southern 213, the Citadel 241, Wofford 259, and that's it. Those are the schools that finished among those being counted. Looks like about 298 schools or so figuring into the final ranking. So that's South Carolina State 189, Furman 183. Okay, so there you go. Just thought I'd pass that along to you for those of you who keep up with that. And let's see the final rankings from Baseball America and collegiate baseball. And of course, Vanderbilt's number 1, Virginia's number 2, Baseball America, Mississippi 3, Texas 4, TCU 5, Louisville 6, Louisiana Lafayette 7, UC Irvine 8, Texas Tech 9, and Oklahoma State 10. College of Charleston finished 17th. Got to believe that's their highest finish ever. And South Carolina finished 25th by Baseball America. And collegiate baseball, Vandy, Virginia, Texas, Mississippi, TCU, Irvine, Louisville, Texas Tech, Louisiana Lafayette, and Oklahoma State, the top 10. College of Charleston, 16, and USC finished 25 by collegiate baseball. Now we've got qualifying going on at Kentucky for this weekend's Sprint Cup race. And right now, the very early, Brad Keselowski is your current leader at 188.791, followed by Joey Logano, Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, and Kevin Harvick at your current top 5. And the update from the PGA stop up in Bethesda, Maryland, the Quicken Loans National, hosted by Tiger Woods. And Tiger can sit back and relax for the weekend because for the 10th time in his pro career, he did not make the cut, as he was coming back, of course, from injuries. So your leader right now after let's see here. We've got a four-way tie for the lead. Mark Leishman, Oliver Goss, Ricky Barnes, and Patrick Reed. They're all at 6 under par. Leishman and Goss both had 66s today. At 5 under par, Hudson Swafford and Stuart Appleby. As far as some locals, Bill Haas, a 72. He's at -2. Ben Martin, a 68. He's at -2. Davis Love the third, 70. He's even par. Kevin Kisner, 68. He's 1 over. Scott Brown is 2 over. Jordan Spieth, we follow him. He's 2 over. Kyle Stanley, 4 over. Russell Henley is 5 over. Jonathan Bird, 5 over. Ernie Els, 7 over. Tiger shot 75 today to finish at 7 over par. And the cut fell at 3 over par. So Kyle Stanley, Russell Henley, Jonathan Bird also did not make the cut for the weekend. All right, there you go.
The thing about Tiger is he didn't pull up lame. That's the key for him, just getting back in the swing of things, no pun intended.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's, people are going to expect him to contend for the Open Championship next month. I don't know that he can get his game together that quickly. And we'll see. I mean, he'll have plenty of time to work on it, but it's obvious that just coming off the extended break that he's had and coming off that surgery, trying to go out and play, he did not have his best stuff these 2 rounds in this tournament. Okay, we'll hit a break. We'll be back. 800-956-7266, the number, here on Sports Talk. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on a Friday night. Good to have you with us. Don't forget, coming up July 24th, Brett Favre in Columbia at the Township Auditorium. For more information, call 800-745-3000, 800-745-3000. Also, Ticketmaster.com. And on Facebook, it is facebook.com/Favre Columbia 14. And that's Favre, for those of you who don't know how to spell Favre. Want more out of your education? Palmetto College offers the quality of a 4-year education online. And to find out more, visit palmettocollege.sc.edu. With Palmetto College, your future has no limits. Let's update what's happening at Kentucky Speedway. Qualifying going on this evening for this weekend's race. And what is going on here? It's right now Brad Keselowski still out with the fastest speed. He's only gone one lap. He must have turned that and pulled off the track. 188.791. Joey Logano, 187.175. Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson, Ryan Newman, Jamie McMurray, Kurt Busch, Danica Patrick, Clint Boyer, and Paul Menard. That's your top 12 at this particular time in qualifying at Kentucky. I'm assuming they're still out there running unless they've had some rain run through the area. Of course, there'll be is that race tomorrow night or is that on Sunday? Monty Dutton will join us, by the way, at the bottom of the hour to talk more NASCAR, the full Monty on NASCAR for you here on Sports Talk. So we, of course, have the July 4th holiday coming up on Friday, a week from tonight. A reminder for you, we'll have live Sports Talk next week, Monday through Thursday. Friday will be a pre-recorded show. But as you are going about your business on the evening of July 4th, make sure you tune in because it'll be a very good program focused on the upcoming football season. You'll hear from Steve Spurrier, Dabo Sweeney, other coaches, USC and Clemson players, and, of course, from us as we offer up our thoughts on things about the upcoming football season, including a spirited debate about the playoff, the 14 playoff, good, bad. Mm-hmm. Will it create more controversy than before? Will it solve all the problems? I don't think anybody will know until it happens, and maybe won't know for a couple of years if this thing is the better system.
Well, ESPN created a problem today. They just had a discussion. They had one of those early polls. I don't know who conducted it, but they had the top 10 teams, and they broke down the scenario for the playoff. And this is what happened. And I don't know, one of their analysts, Rod Gilmore, was debating with, I don't think it was Brad Edwards, I think it was one of their other columnists, but they had, as their 4 playoff teams, Alabama, undefeated, Florida State, undefeated, Oregon with 1 loss, and Michigan State making the playoffs with 2 losses.
There we go.
Okay, now here's the key. The 2 teams left out, a 1-loss Oklahoma team and a 1-loss South Carolina team who went through the regular season undefeated but lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game. And the debate that Rod Gilmore was arguing, because he's a West Coast guy, they left South Carolina out because of poor out-of-conference schedule, whereas Michigan State gets points because they went out to Eugene, Oregon, and played Oregon out there, and even though they lost, they got more points for having the guts to go to Oregon and play, whereas they didn't count, they didn't give Clemson the juice that they gave Oregon and Michigan State because Clemson is South Carolina's natural rival. And the other guy was arguing, wait a minute, look at Michigan State's conference schedule. Did South Carolina, to be undefeated, would have had to knock off Auburn on the road, and he mentioned Florida on the road, and Clemson on the road. And I said, and you trying to tell me that that's Michigan State's schedule? inside the Big Ten. Well, we just argued non-conference schedules. He said, baloney.
Yeah.
You got to look at the entire schedule,
Absolutely.
including the conference schedule.
That will create, of course, a huge debate.
Yes.
And part of the idea, I thought, behind this playoff was that it would end debate, that we would know for sure the top 4 teams in the country. But based on what you're saying, that kind of scenario, that is not going to cure that particular problem. Be right back.
Well done, Professor Tom Hayes. Did you see K-Mac's story with the one prognosticator that had Clemson winning it all? You should have seen his genius. I read the article too. Some dude from 247. Pretty genius insight. Digital tier. He's the Splash Brother I do not want. What you doing for the next round of the World Cup, Corn? Don't float too far. Da-dum. Stand by.
By the way, that order I read a moment ago from Kentucky in qualifying, that's the final qualifying order. That is the top 12. They have wrapped it up. So I was running down, not knowing it, but running down the actual top 12. Brad Keselowski, track record 188.791. Then Joey Logano, Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, and Kevin Harvick, your top 5 in qualifying at Kentucky. The race is tomorrow night, by the way. So we'll get back to what you were saying in just a moment, Pro, because you brought up an excellent point. The current Powerball jackpot, $80 million. Be sure to purchase Power Play for an extra $1 for a chance to increase your winnings from the South Carolina Education Lottery. So, yeah, it's not going to be controversy-free by any means. The other thing that concerns me a little bit, too, is, again, what's going to happen in the situation where, with a playoff now becoming the mindset of the fans, when their team drops out of playoff consideration, how is that going to impact their interest in the rest of the season? Will they continue to be interested? Will playing in a bowl game, but not in one of the 4 games? Not playing in one of the 4 team. Not making the 4-team playoff race, but settling for just one of the bowl games, will that be enough to keep the fan base excited and interested? See, my thinking is that, yes, even the way it was before with the BCS, that eliminated the importance of all the bowls except for the one the BCS championship game was being played in. Yet, you still saw, I think, great excitement about playing in the Rose Bowl, about playing in the Sugar Bowl for new teams, the Orange Bowl, etc. We saw that with Clemson. We saw it with the teams. Mm-hmm. Now, the years that, the Rose Bowl's not hosting a semifinal or a championship game of the Orange Bowl. They're not in there, whatever the case may be. When the teams that don't make the playoffs go to those games, will there still be that kind of excitement for the Rose Bowl, or is it going to be even further diminished as a secondary, meaningless game compared to the 4 teams that are in the playoffs? You see what I'm saying? Is it going to further kill that long-standing tradition as part of college football and what made college football the great sport that it is and allowed the schools to make the millions of dollars they're making?
Well, I think probably 2 things come here. If it's a team up and coming, the fans will be excited. The other one is this. Let's build this scenario. If a Clemson in South Carolina gets to go to a bowl that's outside the playoff, and say you get to play Oregon, I think the fans would be excited because of the opponent. That's the only thing that would pique your excitement if the team is up and coming and the fans are
but
excited.
Under the scenario you pointed out where you're maybe that 5th team that felt like it should be among the 4 that has to settle for a bowl game, will your fan base be excited?
Take it out on the opponent.
Top of the hour break. We'll be back.
Stand by.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
And we're back. Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. Friday night, taking you into the weekend. They're about to go racing at Kentucky Speedway. This would be the Nationwide Series. Brad Keselowski won the pole for that as well. And what else is big going on? Oh, by the way, no Mike Morgan tonight. Mike's on, I guess, TV duty with
the Braves are in Philadelphia tonight, taking on the Phillies.
Braves are in Philly tonight. Taking on the Phillies. I wonder if KJ McDaniels will be there as a guest of the Phillies as one of their draft picks. The Sixers draft picks. The Yankees and Red Sox open a series tonight in New York. That'd be kind of neat to continue to pound on the Red Sox as the Yankees have done so far this season. That'd be kind of fun. There was a trade today in baseball. The Pirates sent their closer, Grilly, to the Angels. How quickly do they forget you?
Wow.
He was the main reason, one of the primary reasons that they they won or made the playoffs last year. So he's their former closer, Jason Grilly, and Ernesto Frieri from the Angels, a former closer, traded for one another today. And what else? Oh, how about this? The NCAA is now going to allow this summer, for the first time, active college football players can receive payment to work their school summer camps. That's a little late because a lot of those summer camps are already over. Now,
exactly.
Some places will have camps in July. NCAA is allowing schools to pay current players a figure consistent with the going rate for guest coaches, which fluctuates but can command close to $20 per hour depending on the school. The players are employed to do things summer camp coaches do. They might be teaching to 10-year-olds, organizing drills, even coaching 7-on-7. This is fine. But here's the problem. Somebody's going to abuse. So this is why they're going to give them this opportunity. But you know what? Instead of paying $20 an hour, they're going to pay. Somebody's going to pay somebody $60 an hour. Because the word will pass along to recruits. Hey, you come here, you go work summer camps, you're going to make a lot of money. So believe me, this is a nice gesture by the NCAA. These coaches these schools, they can't police themselves. They can't help themselves. When they get a chance to get an advantage, they take it, and they will break this rule.
That's why if they break the rule, they have to break it. But you're going to have certain forms, W-2 forms. We want to see them. What did you do? Just things to get about. And that's a good. I
think people cheat on taxes all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a good gesture, though. No, but I'm saying it's on paper and on record. So if you screwed up on record, you could be arrested.
Oh, absolutely.
Look at you getting involved. Look at you getting involved out of nowhere. Sports hernia. All right, Colin, let's do it.
Yeah, a little bit more on this story about the schools now being able to pay football players for summer jobs. Of course, it says some are concerned this will be used as a recruiting enticement. Many 1 or 2 day camps equate to 10-hour work days for players. A sample of schools shows pay can range from $11 to $19 an hour, so in the neighborhood of $200 per day before taxes. It is this fear that prompted the SEC to put forward SEC Legislative Proposal 5, brought forth at the league's spring meetings in May. John Solomon, CBSSports.com, obtained this. The document outlined the possibility that recruiting conversations with prospective athletes will now involve discussions about the amount of money that will be provided during summer camps after commitment.
Yep.
So this is what we're talking about. You just can't trust. And it's a shame. It's a shame. And these are supposed to be the people that set the right example for the young people, yet they will not abide by legislation and by the rules. You can't blame the NCAA. People want to blame the NCAA. They just make the rules and try to enforce it. The schools themselves are the ones that continue to break the rules left and right.
Yeah, I will say this. It's a good idea when you think of the example like a Shaq Wilson, who was too small to play pro football. And from words you get, he looks like he has a future in coaching. You know, a guy like that, while he's playing and in the summer, getting just some hands-on feel of what coaching people is like is a good thing. But as you say, it's the subterfuge involved with some people trying to get a leg up.
Says here Arizona had 11 camps this summer, so you stand to make a lot of money. Arizona State has a total of 11 camp sessions, and players are welcome to work them as their schedules allowed. So anyway, it's a nice gesture by the NCAA, but unfortunately, these schools, the coaches, I hate to say it, they cannot police themselves, and they'll use this as recruiting tools, as a way to one-up each other, and there will be violations. All right, now to basketball. In just a moment, we're going to hear from Ty Johnson and Sindarius Thornwell. Now, when you're out on the water this weekend, of course, we encourage you to have a ton of fun, but please never drink and drive your boat. Always designate a driver, and always wear your life jacket. Let's make it through the summer safely. Football is right around the corner. High school football, college football, and NFL football. We all want you to be there to enjoy. Now, a couple of Gamecocks heading overseas, of course, for some international play, along with USC coach Frank Martin. We heard from Martin last night. We also talked yesterday with the Gamecock players, Ty Johnson and Sindarius Thornwell. And we begin with Ty Johnson talking about this opportunity to go play in international competition.
This opportunity for me and Sin is a great thing because we get to play with other guys from other colleges, and we get to continue our chemistry playing together. And this gives us another few games where we playing with each other, but playing with other guys and competing for like our country and playing against like other countries and things like that. So.
Have either of you had international experience before, just playing in AAU circuit or anything else? Have you been overseas to play?
This is going to be my third time. I did a tour like this with Villanova, my past school, and I did USA as well. So this experience is really fun, and I'm happy to have another opportunity to play with this team and play with Sen as well. And I'm just excited.
Well, with me, no, I never played. I never been overseas, but I played in the Global Challenge. We're in high school where we didn't go overseas. They came over here and we played. But as far as going overseas, it's something new to me, and it's a learning experience.
Obviously, you guys will be playing with Frank over there. I mean, you kind of already know what he's about, but just to kind of give you, maybe a little crash course heading into the season.
We're kind of like used to how Frank coached, so that really doesn't get to us. We're gonna try to help the other guys out, make sure the other guys don't really get frustrated with coach. But for us, we're kind of used to him, and we're just ready to play.
And like something like this is just all about fun. It's all about competing and having fun. Having Frank on the sidelines. We still gotta listen and things like that, knowing that we can't just be out here playing around or BSing or anything like that. But it's good to have Frank on the sidelines, because having him as a real coach and coaching us here, just give us more things that we can learn over there as well. So,
Ty, where are you in your rehab and coming back from your injury from last year and getting back to where you were before you were hurt?
I'm 100%. I'm full go. Summer workouts been really well for me. Staying here in May as well helped me a lot. But I'm full go as far as my injury.
How are summer workouts going for both of you? You get to go get in and actually work with the coaches for a couple hours a week. How are those going? How's the rest of the team shaping up?
For me, it's going good. Helped me work on certain things I needed to work on, more detailed, so I can learn more. And for the team, it's going good. We all get to play together, gain that confidence in one another. Everybody working on their game, so when fall come, we can bring it together as a team and hopefully do better.
You got 3 freshmen in there working out with you. How are those guys developing?
They're coming along fast. Both guys are working hard. They want to get better, so that's a good thing. They're in the gym always working on their game, so they listen. They willing to learn and to go hard. They compete, so that's the biggest thing you can ask because they're so young, is to compete. So they come in here and they compete. They go at us even though they're young. So that's the best thing.
For both of you guys, getting this experience to go see other types of types of basketball across seas, how does this help your game coming back for, this coming season?
Like I said, me playing over there, I kind of know what it is. It's a very physical, sport over there. Playing against guys who's pros overseas and also pros that's inside the NBA that comes back and play for their country. So it's a great experience, but it gives you like a lot of confidence coming back into, like the college season. But you got to bring it every game. You can't go over there and you can't complain about calls because half of the time they're going to get the calls. Like calls going to go inside their favorite. But it's a great experience as far as confidence and, everything that you work on your game as far as dribbling, shooting, like all that stuff comes into play. And you get to showcase your talent in front of different fans. Guys over there create connections. Fans over there, might want to, Facebook you, Twitter you, and say, hey, like, do you remember me from Paris? So things like that over there is going to be a great experience for both of us and also for, the team. And like I said before, I'm just excited to go over there and have another opportunity to play over there, and just looking forward to it.
There you go. Gamecocks and Darius Thornwell, Ty Johnson, and, with the team that they're putting together, guys they have coming back, everybody is back. Not everybody's back. Those who did not transfer out and the one who finished up, everybody else is back and on campus and working out with the coaches, which you can do now under NCAA rules. That's good. And they've got some good players coming in this class. Hopefully that situation with James Thompson will work out positive for USC and for him and for the young lady. Don't want to forget about that. Hopefully everything can get worked out and cleared up and et cetera, and he can become a college student and begin his college basketball career because he could be a key piece for South Carolina. Apparently he's a very talented player, had a lot of good offers, so that's the kind of guy that could come in and really, really boost you up. Now don't forget, those of you in the Columbia area, even outside, coming up in July, Kerry Rich has got his South Carolina Pro-Am League cranking up. He's going to have Gamecocks and Tigers and high school players as well. So you can see these guys in action. You want to see some hoops, some big-time hoops action. They'll have it in July. Kerry will join us next month to talk more about that and tell you about the dates and everything along those lines. So look forward to that. Back in a moment. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we've got the full Monty on NASCAR. Monty Dutton will join us, talk about Kentucky, other things around the NASCAR world. We've also got recruiting a little bit after that. A lot of good information for you. Yes, even on a Friday night, heading into vacation, we deliver recruiting here on Sports Talk. And the Braves delivered early on by Freddie Freeman.
I guess the B.J. Upton leadoff experiment still working. Of course, the other night he hit a home run in Houston. Today he led off the game in Philly with a base hit. Algerton Simmons is now in the two-hole as they shake up the lineup. He walked, and then Freddie Freeman went yard, a 3-run homer, and the Braves are up 3-0. They actually had 8 men bat in the inning. Unfortunately, Dan Ugly is playing second tonight. There was runners on first and third with 2 out, and before you ask, yes, he struck out. So his struggles continue, but the Braves do lead on the strength of Freddie Freeman's 3-run homer in the first inning, 3-0.
All right. A reminder for you as you head out this weekend, if you're headed to the lake or the beach, whatever the case may be, have a lot of fun, but please do not drink and do not drive your boat simultaneously. Not good. Not good. Accidents will happen. You will be caught by the police. You will get a big ticket. Always designate a driver. Always wear your life jacket. Let's make it through the summer safely so we can see you at the ball games coming up this fall. But we do hope you enjoy your weekend, and you'll be back with us on Monday night on Sports Talk. Don't forget, next week, Monday through Thursday, live shows, of course. K-Mac and the Pro and State Man will be here to bring you all the latest. And Friday will be a recorded edition of Sports Talk. But we bring you good stuff. It's going to be a preview of the upcoming football season around the state. Of course, heavy on USC Clemson, but we'll also hear from a few other coaches around the state that we've had a chance to talk to over the spring and summer.
Every time you say that commercial about the life jacket, I get a little giggle because my dad sometimes would go out on a paddle boat and just fish by himself, and he always wore his life jacket. So he brought this dog home, which was a little bit feisty. He thought he could break him, but he couldn't. And he had just washed his life jacket. We woke up.
I know where this is headed.
And he put it on the clothesline to dry. And we woke up the next morning. There were pieces of life jacket all over the backyard as the dog broke loose from his chain from his doghouse and just grabbed and reached and tore up the first thing he could find, and it was his life jacket. So he had to go buy a new one.
And what happened to the dog?
We sold him.
No, you did not.
Yeah, somebody wanted him, and Dad said, "I can't handle this thing. I don't have time to train him. We have to." And so a guy actually had his eye on the dog, and my dad sold it to him.
Yeah, very nice. What a nice man, taking care of that dog in that way. I mean, he could have done some mean things to the pup. But he took care of him. All right, we're going to hit a break. When we come back, it will be Monty Dutton, the full Monty, on NASCAR here on Sports Talk. We'll be right back.
drivers getting ready to climb into their cars. Final thoughts from you two?
I really want to see who does the best job setting up for night racing. Remember one thing, they did all the practicing during the day in the heat, and it's a big-time difference. Whoever does the best job adjusting that thing for night racing probably going to win this thing.
Kyle Larson will finish second to Kevin Harvick tonight.
And the predictions begin. Let's go upstairs to see if he is actually right at the end of this thing. Alan Bestwick, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie, take us the rest of the way.
All right, Nicole, thanks. And hello from Kentucky, where the bumps have been a big topic of conversation.
Love it when it's four wide, love it when it's fast, love it when the leader's caught, the pack is moving past, love it when they're making lots and lots of noise, can't wait to hear these doubles say, boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys! Let's go racing, boys. Love it when they're drafting, love it when they slide, love it when the back's straight, the throttle's open wide, love it when they're making lots and lots of noise, can't wait to hear these doubles say, boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys! Let's go racing, boys!
Let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. I could fit in background, I think, that particular song. Love the lyrics. Let's go racing, boys. We welcome in the full Monty on NASCAR. Monty Dutton, our good friend from Clinton, where he joins us from the King's Room, no doubt. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, Phil. This was kind of a bizarre thing. I was waiting to go on the air, and I muted my TV, and so I could hear the audio of my TV on my phone till Racing Boys came up. So it was kind of strange there.
Kind of weird. That's what can happen.
even for we veteran visitors of radio shows, that threw me off.
Now we're at Kentucky this weekend, and I've often wondered. I mean, I know the Kentucky thing and Bruton Smith and getting him more race dates and all of that, but why is Kentucky an important stop on the circuit for NASCAR?
Well, it is pretty close to Cincinnati, which is a decent-sized city,
Mm-hmm.
but it is also sort of, it's not too far from several tracks like Indianapolis, Michigan, Bristol. So that track, I think, earned its date because it drew very well when it just had truck and nationwide races, which, of course, now, since it has a cup race, it looks like watching my TV, it looks like for the nationwide race tonight there now, it looks like there's a crowd, well into the thousands. But, but you know, they did, like, for instance, you know, the race, the track in Nashville shut down, and it really couldn't draw without a cup race. And so I think the Kentucky race track did so well with the undercards that they sort of for several years kept on doing it, and they sort of finally got their attention, plus the fact that Bruton got a hold of them and was managed to take a date there.
Sure. Now, is there anything about the layout of this track that stands out? Is there anything unusual about it? Does it have any character?
I think that it is another one of those so-called cookie-cutter tracks. It has shorter straightaways and bigger turns, and the character that it has gotten has come from the fact that it is bumpy, and as the pavement, one of the things that you will note with all these night races there is it's like a fireworks display with all the cars bottoming out and parts flying off of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is very bumpy, and I think that brings a little unique aspect to the races there.
Well, now, I heard them talking about a moment ago some of the headlines from the day of practice and qualifying, and you mentioned the bumps. They mentioned the bumps. I mean, are the bumps a concern? Is it going to cause any kind of major problems on race night?
I think it might cause a little problem here and there. I mean, I think I think you might have a bumpy car part of the track with another one next to it, sort of hops up in the air and causes a wreck. But there are other bumpy tracks. I don't think the track is a menace so to speak. It's just a little more difficult because of it.
Talking to Monty Dutton, our full Monty on NASCAR. Brad Keselowski goes out, wins the pole for both races, the Nationwide and Sprint Cup, 188.791. Joey Logano, Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, the rest of the top 5. Anything in practice or qualifying that caught your eye today?
Well, it's sort of a pretty strange because you always have this difficulty when cars are practicing in the heat and then racing at night when it's cool. They barely got qualifying in because there was rain threatening, and so they cooled it. It was more cool than would have been anticipated, perhaps. So I think, but the odd thing about that is that Jimmy Johnson didn't make the top 24. He wasn't even in the didn't get out of the first round of the qualifying format. And in some ways, I think the new qualifying format, while it's designed to be more exciting, I think it's less representative of what happens in the race because there's so much strategy going out at the right time and going out when your tires aren't not running but a couple of laps to save the tires and having it the best for the big lap you have. So I think that qualifying is a little bit less revealing as to who's going to be a favorite in the race. So, but it is, but it does take you aback when there are several people who didn't make it on. On the other hand, Danica Patrick, for instance, qualified 10th. The Roush, Carl Edwards coming off of a win, and all of the Roush cars qualified very poorly today. But it is different from nighttime race conditions. So I think that tomorrow night's race, you're going to have a little bit more of the, let's see, what do they call that? People, you're going to have a little more contenders rising up through the pack and pretenders falling back. And sometimes the upward and downward mobility in the race causes a few more wrecks than might otherwise happen.
What'd you think of the NASCAR visit to the White House earlier this week?
Well, as best I know from all the pictures and things I've seen, it was very graceful and nice. The last time they had it, they had all the chase people go. This time they just had the champion, probably because of the timing of the year. But it seemed like a nice, I mean, Jimmy Johnson, for all his detractors, is a very nice fellow and a graceful presence and has a lot of class. He's a perfect representative in that type of situation. And
apparently Dale Jr. has gone without the mustache now? It's gone?
Yes. It's kind of like, what's that old thing they used to say, that if General Motors sneezed, the whole country got a cold? Well,
yeah.
Every little move, you know, I mean, it's like he shaves his mustache, but I mean, people notice if he just trims it a little bit lower, you know. I mean, we're kind of in the TMZ age of journalism.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the social media, you know, the social media, in a sense, as much as it pains me to admit it, social media is media too. And so it's a whole new world. I think all the time about things that how they would have gone down if people had been tweeting about them.
Oh, my goodness, things 10, 15 years ago, some of the things that would be out there floating around if there had been Twitter or Facebook or something, it'd be incredible. So as we head down the stretch here of the program, who do you like tomorrow night? Who do you have winning this thing? Who do you see competing and being in the running towards the end of the race?
I think that I sort of got a Jeff Gordon hunch because, you know, since Kentucky's only been hosting races a few years, they only have one a year. Kentucky is notable for the drivers who've won at practically every track, but not one. And Johnson hasn't won at Kentucky, and Gordon hadn't won at Kentucky, and Stewart hadn't won at Kentucky. Keselowski has, and Kyle Busch has. But, I mean, there haven't been all that many races there. So you know, there's sort of an unusual – it's very unusual in racing for one driver to have won at every track where there are races being held. The last people who filled that whole thing out were the greats of the 70s, the Pettys, the Pearsons, the Yarboroughs. I think those three at one time had won at every track where they went. but it hadn't happened. It's pretty rare, and so I think whoever fills that worksheet out, I think that's the only place where Gordon had one. I might be wrong about that, but Johnson has not won at 3 tracks, and I think Stewart has won. I think Stewart hadn't won at Darlington and Kentucky, I think. I'm probably not exactly right there, but it's a good place for guys who are historically able to fill out. That lends a certain historic air if the right person wins.
Absolutely. A program note for you, Monty. We will not have a live program next Friday night, but we'll call you next Thursday night and move you up a night as we prepare for the return trip to Daytona. Thank you, the full Monty on NASCAR here on Sports Talk.
Stand by.
All right, once again, thanks to Monty Dutton for his contributions to Sports Talk every Friday night. Of course, next week it'll be on Thursday night as they go back to Daytona for the annual July 4th weekend race. All right, to recruiting now here on this Friday night on Sports Talk. First of all, let's see, Dillon, junior quarterback, Avery McCall. He's now 6'2", 195. Remember a couple of years ago when he first appeared on the scene as a freshman, he was like 5'11", and a string bean. 6'2", 195. He'll be one of the hot signal callers in the state the next 2 seasons, coming off an injury-plagued sophomore season, which he led the Wildcats to the 2A state championship. Already with several offers, he's not rushing the process. His coach, Jackie Hayes, telling us he's concentrating on getting better. USC, Clemson, Tennessee, East Carolina, North Carolina, LSU, Ohio State, and NC State have offered. Florida State has shown strong interest this summer and wants him to come down for a camp, but McCall has not expressed enough strong interest to warrant a trip, his coach said. Now, USC's been reported as a favorite, but Hayes said he can't confirm that. He said, quote, he hasn't said that to me. I do know he likes them a lot, but he's not gone in there and said that's where I'm going to school yet. He is a senior receiver. Arion Hayes has offers from East Carolina, Coastal Carolina, and Georgia Southern. Defensive end, Rasul Clemens of South Aiken, focused on Clemson, LSU, Tennessee, Florida State, Virginia, and Kentucky, and will narrow his list even more in the next couple of weeks, according to his coach, Jeremy West, who said that he is a LSU fan. A lot of people are sitting back and seeing that, and the coach said he's gone to visit everywhere, and he's just trying to see which ones he likes the best. West is expecting Clemens to make a decision in early August. He went to LSU's spring game and had a real big time there, and some thought he might commit then, but he did not. Junior offensive lineman Malcolm Garrett, 6'3", 278 of Cross, another 2016 prospect to watch, according to his coach, Sean Wright. He attended USC's junior day in March. Coach Wright said USC loved his film, and he said he likes his work ethic and his drive for improvement. He said his desire to be better and do more than he has before. He was 330 pounds, he said, when he came to Cross. Now he's 278. The coach thinks he could be one of the best players in the country in a couple of years. He also plays on the D line. USC with 2 commitments, of course, from the state of Alabama. Could they be getting a third at some point? Linebacker Amonte Caban of Smith Station planning a decision by the end of summer or early in the season. And without offers from Alabama and Auburn right now, he's looking for the best out-of-state fit. That may well be USC. He talked to Kurt Botkin on Tuesday. He's going to be at South Carolina July 26th for a visit, and he said he likes South Carolina a lot, and he likes the coaches, has a good relationship with Botkin. He has an offer from Clemson, too, and he talked with Brent Venables a couple of weeks ago. He said Venables likes him, and they're making a push, but he said right now he likes USC more than Clemson. Some of his other offers include Mississippi State, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Tennessee, Louisville. He does think Auburn and Alabama eventually will offer. No outright favorite right now. Defensive end Tevin Coney of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, had planned on visiting Clemson, but has since cooled on the Tigers. Said his list is down to 6 or 7, and Clemson is not among the 6 or 7. Florida offered receiver Taven Richardson of Burns this spring, and now he has Florida in his top 8. He named Florida, Kentucky, Louisville, Wake Forest, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Nebraska, and Central Florida as favorites in no order. He likes Florida, winning tradition, played in the SEC, produces a lot of talent. Going to visit there July 25th. He'll also visit Central Florida, or try to, while on that trip. He's been to each school in his top 8 except for Florida, Central Florida, and Nebraska. No time frame for when he'll visit Nebraska. He does plan on taking all 5 officials and not hearing anything from USC or Clemson. Running back Michael Lange Davis from Atlanta. I think it's Atlanta, the Atlanta area. Committed today to Georgia Tech. Clemson had also been involved. And in basketball, 6'6" Tevin Mack of Dreer having a big spring and summer with strong showings in AAU competition and camps. Most recently at the NBA Top 100 camp in Charlottesville, Virginia this weekend. He'll be at USC with his teammates from Dreher for a team camp. Got to believe that USC's coaches will be paying close attention. They've not yet offered, but they're showing a lot of interest. He talked to USC recruiter Matt Figger earlier this week. He's been to USC unofficially several times and is keeping the Gamecocks under consideration. He does have an offer from Clemson and is in regular touch with the Tigers. He talked to his recruiter, Coach Grant, the other night. We'll give you more on this story in a moment.
It's west on 20. It's right off of 20. Well, he was already convicted. He's pretty, I mean, I thought he admitted to it and everything. Should have. I mean, pretty obvious. When you get cut by the Twins and all of a sudden you land back on a big league roster and start hitting 9 million home runs, it's pretty obvious you're on the gas. Yeah, there's between 61 and 2011. Stand by.
Couple of more notes here on Tevin Mack. As I mentioned, he talked to Clemson recruiter Earl Grant earlier this week as well. And he was telling him about the perks of going there and playing in the ACC. He's also been in touch with Georgia, VCU, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, Auburn, Mississippi State, Southern Cal, Kansas, Georgetown, Tennessee, Cincinnati, and East Carolina. He's also visited Clemson, VCU, and Georgia. No other visits planned right now. His offers are Clemson, East Carolina, Auburn, Mississippi State, Wake, VCU, Virginia Tech, Georgia, and some mid-majors. Plans to cut his list down by August and plans to take all 5 of his official visits. There you go. With recruiting, which you can always catch online on our website, sportstalksc.com, on Twitter, #STRecruiting. All right, what's the latest on the Braves there, Pro?
It is 4-0 Atlanta. Freddie Freeman has all 4 RBIs. He hit a run-scoring double in the second inning to plate the 4th run.
All right, very good. The only game that matters, Yankees have a 1-0 lead on the Red Sox.
That won't last too long with that gasoline you got on the hill.
In the bottom of the 3rd, I think it is. And one more thing I wanted to mention before we get away tonight. If you want more from your education, we suggest Palmetto College. Palmetto College offers the quality of a 4-year education online. To find out more, visit palmettocollege.sc.edu. With Palmetto College, your future has no limits. A couple of other notes to mention. Jameis Winston of Florida State, Alyssa Thomas of Maryland, top male and female athletes for this academic year in the ACC. Of course, Winston led Florida State national championship, won the Heisman, and Thomas was second in ACC history to be voted the ACC Women's Basketball Player of the Year for a third straight season, and she led the Terrapins to the Final Four. Also at Citadel, baseball coach Fred Jordan, who could eventually become athletic director Fred Jordan, he's announced the addition of Aaron Gershenfeld to his staff as a volunteer assistant. He succeeds Justin Mackert, who is heading to dental school. Gershenfeld comes to the Citadel from Louisville, where he spent 2 seasons as a reserve catcher. And, of course, the head coach at Louisville was at the Citadel, if I'm not mistaken. I think he either coached or played at the Citadel. All right, so I am gone for a couple of weeks. You'll be in the capable hands of the Pro and K-Mac and the Steak Man. Any parting thoughts before I leave, Steak Man?
Anchors away,
we'll miss
baby.
you greatly.
Yeah.
Anchors away, baby.
I'm touched. Thank you so much. Everybody have
now you going on
a
an
good
aircraft
weekend.
carrier? Is that what you?
I'm going on a submarine. I'm going on a submarine ride to swim with the fishes. But I hope everybody has a great weekend, a great couple of weeks. I look forward to being back with you from SEC Media Days. Until then, have a great night and be sure to join us next week on Sports Talk.